All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking Apple's latest massive push to bring AI-powered accessibility tools across their entire hardware ecosystem. And honestly, we're talking about a fundamental shift here. Instead of us struggling to figure out how to operate a device, the machine is now using on-device machine learning to actually understand and adapt to us. Pretty cool, right? But to really wrap our heads around this, we kind of need to look past all that flashy generative AI. You know the stuff, the chatbots and image generators making all the headlines lately. Instead, we need to ask a much more grounded question. How is this technology actually being used in our daily lives? Like, how does it serve as this invisible, empowering utility for everyday people? And what's absolutely fascinating here is the direct integration of practical AI into the devices we already rely on every single day. See, Apple isn't treating this as some niche, optional download. No, they're baking intelligent accessibility directly into the core operating systems of the iPhone, the Mac, and the Vision Pro. And they're doing all this using the Apple Neural Engine to process everything right there on the device, which is absolutely crucial for protecting your privacy. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at how AI meets everyday accessibility. Second, the iPhone's new AI tools. Third, upgrading the Mac experience. Fourth, expanding to Vision Pro. And finally, number 5, why this tech matters for absolutely everyone. Starting with Section 1, AI meets everyday accessibility. For decades, the user has really had to adapt to the computer, and that's created some immense daily friction. So rather than just obsessing over the hardware, let's group these features by the fundamental human needs they actually address. Accessibility AI basically consists of invisible software tools designed to specifically target cognitive, visual, hearing, or mobility needs. We're not talking about some bulky, awkward add-on here. Think about features that can literally isolate a user's unique vocal patterns, or maybe use the camera to read physical buttons out loud. It's like this quiet, incredibly intelligent layer working right there behind the glass, ensuring that physical or cognitive differences just don't become roadblocks anymore. Moving on to Section 2, the iPhone's new AI tools. And really, this whole evolution starts with the device that's basically the most central to our everyday lives, the iPhone. I want you to imagine, just for a second, trying to navigate a super complex mobile interface when standard touches, swipes, or taps simply aren't an option for you. Like what feels like a totally basic, thoughtless tap to one person can actually be an incredibly complex physical hurdle for another. So to truly understand who this tech is helping, we kind of have to completely rethink how we physically interact with these flat glass screens. Because on one side of the equation, a standard screen demands really rigid specific inputs, right? But then on the other side, you look at these new AI methods, and it's a totally different story. Take eye tracking on iOS, for example. It literally uses the front-facing camera and on-device machine learning to just follow your gaze. The AI acts as your personal interpreter. Or look at features like music haptics, which translates audio into physical taps, or vehicle motion cues that reduce motion sickness by placing these little animated dots right on the screen. The entire idea is that the AI dynamically adopts the interface to however the user can best interact with it. It's brilliant. All right, on to Section 3, upgrading the Mac experience. Now, obviously, a professional desktop environment demands entirely different solutions than a little device you keep in your pocket. So upgrading Mac accessibility involves a few key things: adapting AI tools to desktop environments, scaling those features up for much larger screens, and really enhancing workstation productivity workflows. To put that into perspective, imagine being able to map specific, super complex keyboard shortcuts to your own custom vocal sounds. By bringing these tailored AI tools directly to macOS, that seamless accessibility just isn't lost when a user transitions over to heavy, demanding desktop tasks. Which brings us to Section 4, expanding to Vision Pro. Now we're getting into the really cutting-edge stuff with a fascinating new concept: spatial accessibility. Basically, this is the adaptation of AI-driven navigation and interface tools, but specifically tailored for a 3D wearable environment. You see, adapting tools for something like the Vision Pro requires the AI to interpret completely different sensory inputs. It's navigating this entirely new paradigm where your actual physical environment is the interface. So, for someone with limited mobility, the AI essentially translates standard 2D accessibility right into 3D space. It allows them to navigate these complex floating menus entirely through just subtle eye movements and simple little finger taps. It's like magic, honestly. So step back and look at the big picture. We now have 3 major hardware platforms completely unifying their accessibility approach. Whether we're talking about the iPhone, the Mac, or the Vision Pro, the foundational strategy remains incredibly consistent across the board. The goal? Deploy on-device AI to instantly, seamlessly remove friction. And honestly, this just proves that inclusive design isn't some afterthought for Apple. It's literally a foundational pillar hard-coded into the silicon across their entire lineup. And that leads us right into our final part, Section 5, Why This Tech Matters. Because at the end of the day, inclusive hardware design empowered by invisible AI changes daily life for absolutely everyone. This brings us to this really cool, well-known concept called the curb cut effect. Basically, when AI is used to dismantle accessibility barriers for folks with very specific visual, cognitive, or mobility needs, it ultimately paves the way for much better, far more intuitive tech for every single user. I mean, think about it. Just like voice dictation originally started out as a dedicated accessibility tool, and now it's an everyday convenience we pretty much all rely on. Good inclusive design is, well, it's just good design, period. So, I want to leave you with a question to consider. How might these invisible AI tools change the future of all hardware design? If our phones, our computers, and our headsets can use AI right now today to intelligently adapt to our own unique physical and cognitive needs, just imagine the hardware of tomorrow. We are rapidly moving toward a future where technology bends entirely to how you naturally operate, rather than forcing you to adapt to it. Definitely keep that in mind the next time you simply unlock your device.